What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs, and in today's video, going over Week 18. Yes, Week 18, the last week of the regular season. Main slate first look. We got a 13-game slate. Gonna see who's playing, who's not, kind of situation. And yeah, let's get into it. So, 7,100 Drake May at home against Miami. Kind of don't know what aspect New England's going to go into it with. Obviously, they are still playing for seeding. So at 7,100, it's a really good matchup against Miami. Miami just beat Tampa Bay, but it is a division game. They are home. They don't need to win, but it does benefit them if they do. So I'm fine with him. Matt Stafford, 6,900 at home against Arizona. Kind of just saw Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense have a real successful day against them. Now you get a division opponent, which, by the way, it's all division. All division. So you get Matt Stafford 6,900 at home, maybe in a rebound game after what we just saw last night. Dak Prescott is 6,800 on the road against the Giants. I like that game. Probably going to be a really fun one. When did we see them play? Was it? Yeah, it was early on. Dak Prescott, 26 points in that game, 77 combined points. That was the game that Russell Wilson had 500 yards, something like that? Crazy. Joe Burrow at home against Cleveland. Probably not the greatest. Run game could be good. Jalen Hurts, 6,500 at home against Washington. Definitely like that one. Philly still is playing for seeding. It's between them and the Bears for the number 2 spot. Number 2 spot pretty much gets Green Bay. The number 3 spot gets the leftover, which I believe is going to be the Rams. One way or another. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be the Rams. Trevor Lawrence at home against Tennessee. Trevor Lawrence has been balling. He really has. He's put up some really, really good fantasy games. Last time we saw them against Tennessee, 21.7. Goes up in price. He's 6,400 now, so getting up there in price. Don't know if I love that one as much. Bo Nix, 6,200 at home against Chargers. That's a good division game. Don't know if I like that one. Ooh, Jared Goff, 6,100 on the road against Chicago, where we just saw my Bears have a really good back and forth game. I'm not mad about it, to be honest. Would I have liked us to win? Yeah, but I mean, that was a hell of a game. But you get Jared Goff, 6,100, who Jared Goff just had a really, really bad game against Minnesota. Not going to be in a dome this time against the Bears, but we saw what they did very early on in the season. Jared Goff, 37 DraftKings points. Damn near perfect game against my Bears. So yeah, I do still like, I'm going to play out of the narrative and say I do like Jared Goff this week, not in a dome. Caleb Williams, on the other side of that, is 5,900. Would imagine the Bears go, right? That number 2 seed is pretty crucial. Just don't know what weapons Caleb Williams is going to have, which that kind of changes things. With Luther Burden exiting that game, don't know if you're going to, get Rome back out there just to get a seeding spot instead of waiting another week and getting him healthy for that playoff game. Jackson Dart is 5,700 at home against Dallas, which Jackson Dart, pretty damn good game out of him. No passing touchdowns, but he did get 2 rushing touchdowns in that game against Vegas. Now he gets Dallas. This one, I'm more skeptical on watching the Giants' injuries in this one. If Williams is in for Dallas too, I don't know if I love Jackson Dart as much, just because of the injuries that the Giants have. Jacoby Brissett, 5,600 on the road against the Rams. Don't love that one. Stroud against Indy. Kind of do like that one. Like, Stroud's put up some solid games lately. But at 5,400, the price tag ain't bad against Indy. With Buckner getting shut down, Sauce Gardner leaving that game. Kind of it for it. And Houston's at home, so Tyler Shough, 5,300 on the road against Atlanta. Tyler Shough has been performing lately. 24.9 against Tennessee. Now gets Atlanta, who did some work against the Rams, but Stafford at the end of the game still had a decent fantasy performance out of that. So Tyler Shuck is an interesting cheap price to watch for at 5,300 this week. Kind of like that one. I'm not touching Minnesota Green Bay. I'm going to be honest. Even if it's Malik Willis, I'm not touching it. Kirk Cousins, 5,100 at home against New Orleans. I'd say if Drake London's still good to go, in which it looked like he was, he just didn't get included. I really like that Atlanta offense against New Orleans. Trubisky, 5K. I imagine Trubisky's going to be the quarterback for the Bills this week. Just depends on who's with them. If they're, going to be without Kincaid, Shakir, James Cook, I don't know. But if he still got a decent amount of the starters in with him, I'm fine with that. They priced Jimmy Garoppolo at 4,900, expecting Stafford to be out. Shador Sanders is 4,900 against the Bengals. This one's interesting. Shador, yet again, not putting up the greatest performances, but he's hung around 10, 11 points at 4,900 against this Bengals team. I don't mind that one at all, to be honest. Cam Ward, no. The Indy quarterbacks against Houston, obviously not. Even if it's Anthony Richardson, no. Quinn Ewers, no. Trey Lance, 4,500, no. Not trusting the Chiefs' backup quarterback against Vegas, although it is interesting. I just will not trust it. I guess we are watching the injury status for Washington quarterbacks, but it's still against Philly. Jets quarterbacks against Buffalo, no. We get Kenny Pickett or Aiden O'Connell. I hope it's Aiden O'Connell, but there's no Brock Bowers. At home against Kansas City. Brasmere, 4,200 at home against Green Bay. No. Yeah, there's not a lot. So kind of where I'm at first look. I like the Dallas offense on the road against the Giants. I like Jalen Hurts at home against Washington. I like Jared Goff, Caleb Williams, that game as well. CJ Stroud, Tyler Shuck, both those guys kind of stand out to me. Trubisky, if he has starters, is interesting, but I don't know how much I rely upon that. Running backs. Oh my God, we got the running backs. Oh, this is going to be a really, really fun way to end the DFS season. We get Bijan, we get HM, we get Gibbs, we get Cook, we get Taylor, we get Brown, we get Barkley, Etienne, Harvey, Kyron Williams, Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Genty, Henderson. The only one we're missing is CMC. If he was on the slate, it'd be amazing. It would be amazing if CMC was on the slate. Derrick Henry too, having a very good stretch towards the end. Bijan versus the Saints. Just came off a really good game. The game against the Saints, the last time they played, Atlanta scored 24 points. Bijan, one of his lower scoring performances. But they are at home. It is against New Orleans. I do like that. HN against New England, probably not this week. Gibbs against Chicago, would check the statuses of the offensive line. The offensive line of Detroit has definitely been banged up, and that's kind of what's hurt the run game. But I don't mind it against the Bears, where we just saw CMC totally smash my Bears defense. James Cook, kind of same thing, watching if he's going to be a full good to go or not. If he is at 7,900 against the Jets, love that. I can honestly see the Bills, if they're comfortable, kind of taking James Cook out, just because of the depth of the Bills running back room, where you get Ty Johnson at 4,900, Ray Davis at 4,900. Both those guys been solid enough for Buffalo, so I could see James Cook get a smaller role if Buffalo gets a lead to start. Jonathan Taylor, tough matchup against Houston. Chase Brown against Cleveland. The way Cleveland's run game has been lately, I'm fine with getting Chase Brown at this price point. Saquon Barkley, 7,200. Kind of the same thing in this scenario, where Philly's defense is playing really damn good, where we could see if Philly gets a good sized lead, Saquon being taken out of the game. Although we did see Saquon just a couple weeks ago have one of his better fantasy performances this season. You got to just remember that this game, as long as the team wins, it don't matter, right? If they lose, obviously, that changes seeding, but if they're in a comfortable enough spot, I could see the Eagles go elsewhere in their running back room as well, so we do have to be cautious with it. ETN at 7,100. This one's interesting just because Tootin has been injured, so for Jacksonville, you get a positive matchup for him. But then you're going to Allen, maybe I guess DJ Dallas is a Jaguar. If Tootin is good, then I am concerned about ETN. Kind of the same thing, just Jacksonville gets a lead and, helps out ETN and gives some of the workload elsewhere. RJ Harvey in a tough matchup. Kyron Williams at 6,700. Love that matchup for him. He's very fair price. Blake Corum left that game with an injury, so Kyron does seem really good right now. Don't trust Hampton against Denver, especially with no Herbert. Josh Jacobs on the road against Minnesota. Sorry, you killed me last week. Gentry against Kansas City. I mean, I don't know. I lean no. Kansas City still got a run defense. It just maybe some people are missing. Javonte, watching the status of him. If he's in, love that matchup against the Giants. If he's out, we're going to get some value, and we'll kind of look at where those backups are for Dallas. Breece Hall left that game as well, 6,200 on the road against Buffalo. Kind of see the backups there. I think Isaiah Davis is the backup for the Jets, in Malik Davis, believe would be the backup for Dallas. Travion Henderson is 6,100. Don't mind that price point. Although Ramondre, I did say when I was going over, one of these guys is going to have a good game. They both could, and Ramondre did. Ramondre was 27, Travion 8.2, combined 35, which isn't bad. But Ramondre had that game. We could see a similar thing. Aaron Jones at home, or he is home, against his former team. You know what? We saw them play a few weeks ago. Aaron Jones, 8.7. Well, guess what? Packers' run defense ain't as good this time around. And we're watching Jordan Mason's status. If Jordan Mason's out, I'm pretty okay with getting Aaron Jones at 6K this week. Swift against his former team at home, probably not, if we're just being honest. Woody Marks against Indy, maybe. I don't trust a Houston running back right now. They probably Blake Corum. Man, they really anticipated the Rams to win that game. Blake Corum is 5,700. It's crazy. Ramondre Stevenson is 5,600. Like that one. Wilson's 5,500. Wild. I guess we could mention Kamara, but he hasn't played. It doesn't make sense to play this game. Tyron Tracy, 5,500 against Dallas. Yet again, we have to watch the status of the Williams for Dallas and then the Giants offensive line, who most of those guys were already ruled out, but Tyron Tracy, good enough game, but I mean, sucked at his price point. 5,400 goes up 100 against Dallas, so don't really know if we like that. Pollard against Jacksonville, no. And this is where we start to get some value or some things clear up. Tank Bigsby is 5,400. Yet again, watching it. Malik Davis is 5,300. So yet watching Javonte. Krosky Merritt, damn good game against Dallas. He gets Philly though, which sucks. Like Philly's getting healthy, so I don't trust that one. Dylan Sampson, 5,200 on the road against Cincy. I like this one quite a bit. Did not have the greatest run game, and it was Pittsburgh's run defense, but got utilized in the receiving game. So I don't mind Dylan Sampson this week at 5,200. I think he's a good punt play. Isaiah Pacheco, 9 for 32. Kind of sucked if we're going to be honest. But he gets Vegas this week, so don't mind the Kansas City. I will say Kansas City running backs, not just Isaiah Pacheco. Carter, 51 against the Rams. Back-to-back stinkers for Carter. Tootin would be 5,100 in that game. Montgomery's kind of interesting. He got the 10 carries against Minnesota, but they weren't needed and necessary, just some of the carries he got. But he gets his former team in the Bears, where, yet again, saw him earlier in the season, 5.2 yards per carry and a touchdown in that game. Audric estimate is 5K against Atlanta. Maybe. He got that big touchdown, which was nice. 14 for 94 and a touchdown. Got a reception. Wasn't bad out of him. The price point's fair. Devin Singletary's 5K against Dallas, where Devin Singletary had the better game than Tyrone Tracy for sure. I mentioned the Buffalo running backs there. So Isaiah Davis is 4,700 for the Jets. Shipley as well, 44 for Philly. Blue, 40, maybe. No, I don't want to say blue. No. All right, we're moving on to wide receiver because that just gets ugly there. Without news right now, guys, this is. I can only speculate. There's only been a few amount of roster decisions made, and that's one. The Rams are playing their guys, and that's Justin Herbert is out. The rest of the stuff will kind of lean. I'm just going based off of kind of what I would do, I guess, and who am I? But it kind of just what makes sense in my mind. Puka 9K at home against Arizona. I'm fine with this one. 38.7 the last time these teams played. 167 and 2 touchdowns for him. It's a good game for him, especially if Arizona is still going to be weak in the defensive back area. Jamar Chase, 8,500 against Cleveland. Don't trust that one as much. We just get some better matchups this week. Like Amon-Ra, if Amon-Ra is good to go, 7,700. Love him against Chicago this week, unless the wind is crazy. But love him in that one. Olave, I mentioned him too when we were doing our cash/GPP picks. But 11 targets, 8 for 119 and a touchdown. Him and Tyler Shough have a really good connection here lately. Facing some bottom teams, and yet again, they're facing Atlanta, which last time we saw Olave versus Atlanta, 13 targets, 70 yards. Atlanta's been dealing with some defensive back injuries as well. Dallas wide receiver 73 and 7,200. Definitely disappointed last week, 9.6 for Lamb, and George Pickens 11.8, where yet again we saw a number 3 receiver benefit more than we have Lamb and Pickens. Nico Collins, 7K. Don't know how much I trust Nico Collins last 2 weeks. Really hasn't done much. The rest of the wide receiver room has definitely stepped up. The run game has gotten better with Jordan kind of getting mixed into that running back situation. So don't really think you need to go Nico. Drake London against New Orleans. This one is definitely interesting. Just because we did not see him play their other game against New Orleans. We've kind of seen some up and down performances for Drake London. But his last 2 games, definitely disappointing. But I could definitely see a going out with a bang type of situation between him and Kirk Cousins. So at 6,900, I kind of like that as a leverage play right now, based off the pricing. AJ Brown, 6,800. I mean, it's a great matchup for him, and he's put up some decent numbers lately. It's just for the price point now, right? Like we saw him get dirt cheap. Now he's back up to the 7K, 6,800 range, which definitely kind of sways you one way or the other. Jameson Williams, 6,700. 6,700 against my Bears. I mean, that's something. I mean, if you want to go back to the week 2 and just use that as a reference point, I guess 2 for 108 and a touchdown. But man, that price point is brutal. Michael Wilson, 6,600 on the road against the Rams. The connection, hasn't been the greatest lately between him and Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he's still putting up some good numbers, but yet again, for the price point is 6,600. He's got to get you 15 plus against the Rams. Don't expect Devontae in. Diggs, maybe against Miami at 6,300. It's interesting. I could just see New England trying to utilize Kyle Williams a little more this week. Wan'Dale Robinson, 6,100 against Dallas. I'm definitely fine with that one. Higgins against Cleveland, definitely fine with that one. Sutton against the Chargers, no. Ladd against Denver, not with Trey Lance in, sorry. Devontae Smith, 58. I'm fine with Devontae Smith this week. I mean, he's kind of been not involved lately. Yet again, it's just if Philly gets a lead, could just see those guys getting pulled. Justin Jefferson is 5,800 against Green Bay, which is crazy to me, but he had the stinker against Detroit, so it makes sense. But man, that price is crazy. Get Justin Jefferson a quarterback next season. Just get him a quarterback. Terry McLaurin, 5,700 against Philly. I don't mind that one, actually. I don't mind that one. If Mariota's in, I really don't mind that one. Jalen Waddle, 5,700. The numbers with viewers just aren't good. I'm going to be honest. Like I said, I don't know if Rome's going to play or not. I expect him not to. Jacoby Myers, I like that price and matchup, 5,600. DJ Moore, 5,500. I definitely like this one for DJ Moore. I think it's a good bounce back spot for him after a disappointing game where we saw 2 good games out of him. He just had a really tough matchup in that game against San Fran where he saw Lenore quite a bit, and that's why Luther Burden, who is 5,300 and also left that game, then yeah, DJ Moore definitely kind of stands out if Burden and Rome are both out. So we'll watch the status. I imagine Zacchaeus is going to be back. I think Zacchaeus was out because of that illness. DJ Moore did play. And that's another thing. DJ Moore definitely had that illness, was pretty much a game time decision, and did play. So Brian Thomas Jr. could definitely see a scenario where Brian Thomas Jr. has a huge game against Tennessee where we haven't seen the connection there. Maybe we need to see the connection, but Parker Washington's definitely stepped up the last 2 weeks. 10 targets, over 100 yards in each game. Parker Washington has definitely stepped up. It's an interesting, I will say, if you are a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, I think it's an interesting situation with your wide receiver room going forward next season. You're obviously, I don't know if you cut Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, he's on a rookie deal. But what do you do with Travis Hunter? You extended Jacoby Myers. What are you doing with Parker Washington? Wild situation. Interested to see what that comes up. Shakira mentioned that at 5K. Debo against Philly, no. Franklin against Chargers, no. Addison against Green Bay, no. Booty, if he plays against Miami, I'm fine with that. I am fine with Booty against Miami. I could also see them being cautious and going back to the same wide receiver group this week against Miami. Just going down here, were these interesting against Vegas? I know the volume hasn't been there lately, but I think the upside for him is, especially if with the Rice being out at 4,600, which I wish he was cheaper. Like, it's crazy to me. His price tag's here. And then 4,900 is the price tag. He was on the Christmas slate. Jeez. Sorry, Christmas. I wanted to say Thanksgiving slate. Christmas slate was 4,900 and he's only 46. So it's not the greatest there. Jaden Higgins. I mentioned Jaden Higgins. A solid play. Goes up $500 now. Going against Indy, so definitely fine with that one. Kyle Williams goes up as well, which is crazy. He's up 1,000 for only 5 points, DraftKings. 1,000 for 5? Wild. Darius Slayton, 41. Don't mind that. Trey Tucker, 4K against Kansas City. If they're going to deal with those secondary injuries, definitely fine with Trey Tucker. I mean, goes up 200 for 9.9. That's how you do it, DraftKings, right there. Pop Douglas, fine with him. Demario Douglas, 3,800. I mentioned this, but Turpin, 15.6. Flournoy, 9.8. Like, those guys playing good. Anything else that stands out? Zacchaeus could be interesting, like I said, if Rome and Burner out. Brandon Cooks maybe with an elevated role, but 17.14 and 4 for 101 out of nowhere. Noel 3,500. JD Walker, I mentioned him, but he could be an interesting play for the Bears depending on their wide receiver room. If Rome and Burner out and Zaccheaus is out, JD Walker should have an elevated role in that game against Detroit. So I think that's interesting as well. Everybody else we'll just save for later in the week. Moving on to tight ends. McBride against the Rams, fine with that. Pitts against New Orleans, the price is just too high. I don't know if Fannin plays, but whatever Cleveland tight end is playing this week against Cincinnati, yes. Travis Kelce against Vegas. I'm going to say yes. It's Travis Kelce's last game. Yes, I'm saying it's his last game. Yes. Hunter Henry against Miami. I like that matchup. Definitely fine with that one. Warren against Houston. I liked Warren last week. Still getting targets, but don't know who the quarterback's going to be, and it is Houston. Ferguson, no. Juwan Johnson against Atlanta, probably not. Watching the Kincaid status for sure this week in that matchup. Love Goddard against Washington. Love Loveland against Detroit. Schultz, I'm fine with against Indiana. Strange against Tennessee, definitely fine with that. Parkinson, 3,700. Kind of seeing a slower roll lately, but it was a nice bounce back game for Parkinson, and they're using a lot of multiple tight end sets between him, Ferguson, and Davis Allen. Gadsden, no. Waller against New England, yes, fine with that, even if Dulcich is getting some work. If Kincaid's out, Dawson Knox, fine with him at 3,600 against the Jets. Michael Mayer had a big week out of him, 3,500, fine with that one. Chico Conquo, back-to-back weeks, 14.5, 16.4, touchdown each. Faces Jacksonville's defense, so fine with that. And then, the rest will just wait on injuries. And then defenses, the Jets definitely could be interesting this week at 2K if Josh Allen's out. Indy against Houston, no. Chargers against Denver, no. Titans against Jacksonville, no. Arizona against Rams, no. Miami against New England, maybe. For the price point of 2,200, maybe. Giants against Dallas, no. Vegas against Kansas City, no. Honestly, no. New Orleans against Atlanta, maybe. And then top defenses. Broncos, 3,800, make a lot of sense. Texans, 3,700. And then the Bills, 3,500. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.